Jefferson County. So that's the scorecard and the project you're going to want to be looking at.
Okay, give me 1 sec, just so I can download all these and look at multiple things at once. Okay, Jefferson County.
It's mental health. Yep. It's the peer run housing program.
Sorry, I see Jefferson DSS SPC expansion or DV expansion, neither one of those?
Nope. You're actually in the, that sounds like you're in the new project application. So you're going to want to go to
the old ones.
Yep, where it says part 1 and part 2 project apps and scorecards.
So MHA is that the one?
Yes.
That's the one.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
All right.
Okay. All right. I gotcha. And then do I just go through the questions one at a time and answer them?
Yep. So any questions that you had on the review you did first, and if you had none, then you go to the board interview questions.
Sorry, everyone. Thank you for bearing with me with this. So one of the questions I did have was we were asked to score based on how your project overcomes cultural barriers. And I was wondering if you could expand upon your description.
So for us, culture barriers, I mean, here we serve individuals who have a serious mental illness or substance use disorder. So they can have both co-occurring or they can just have one or the other. So we don't discriminate, and we have an atmosphere where we try to eliminate culture barriers by allowing individuals to come in and get the services. So we're housing first. We allow them to come in and get services regardless of their culture, their sex, their, anything. We try to eliminate that barrier for them. So we have a lot of individuals that are from, different backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, and we try to eliminate that right at the door because we believe it's so important. And we want to foster an environment, a welcoming environment, no matter what your culture is, your sex, your preference. We want individuals to be able to come and get those services, housing first, no matter what.
Okay. Another aspect was the move on strategy. And I know that you stated that you were transitioning into rapid rehousing, but I was wondering if you could define the strategies you had into moving into rapid rehousing, how you're planning on doing that, and what your end goals are.
Sure. I mean, we were with transitional housing for quite some time, and what we found is that it's a great option. But what we found is sometimes the population we serve with the transitional housing, they can stay up to 2 years, 2.5 years, and they get very complacent. So it's more like, I want to work on some goals, but since I can be here for up to this amount of time, I'm going to just kind of stay here. And for us, even though we're helping individuals, we didn't see too much productivity and outcomes with that. So we wanted to move more into the rapid rehousing model where we can assist them, get them the housing that they need, transition them to permanent housing. So get more of that time where we don't have such a huge time frame for them to have those services. So we want to transition to rapid rehousing. So it's more of a more tight deadline on time frames to get them more permanent housing, because we found that with transitional, even though it's a great program, individuals, they tend to want to be complacent sometimes and stay as long as they want, which gives them no motivation to want to get permanent housing.
Okay. Specifically in relation to COVID, do you have any partnerships or any partnerships you're looking to build on how to address homelessness and as it ties into the COVID pandemic?
So I think one of the unique things that we have And I know HUD does their own, guidance and things too. But one of the unique things that we have with our programs is we're governed under the Office of Mental Health and Department of Health, and they have come down with very strict guidelines as far as COVID, and what we can do and all of that. So we incorporate that into our policies, our internal policies, along with HUD as well. So we utilize that. Even I think what's very helpful is the updated COVID sheet that CARES has, that allows us to do through that intake process, ask those questions, and actually be there for the individuals. Because in my opinion, when individuals are homeless, they are more susceptible to COVID because they don't have those resources that they need compared to, some of the other populations and other programs that we have. So I think incorporating all those policies, asking the right questions, making sure they have those wraparound services, making sure they have that advocate that can help them through the process of making sure they have, just basic need items that they may need to help them with that. So I think just incorporating all of that into our internal policies kind of help eliminate some of those barriers regarding COVID.
And with that, is there any strategy to building confidence around the COVID vaccine?
Yes, so I think one of the things that I don't know, Sam might know a little bit more, but Fort Drum Regional Health Planning Organization put this video out about COVID, and we utilize those for some of our individuals, our members, and things like that. We have different educational materials and things like that. We educate them, but I think the choice could truly lies with the individual. So we provide all the education we need, all the videos and things like that, tell them the importance of it. But sometimes it's up to the individuals whether they preference or whether they want the shot or not. But we do provide as much education as possible for them. We do find a lot of population that we serve don't like going to the hospital. They don't even like going to urgent care unless it's something that is an immediate concern where they have to go. But we do educate them on the importance of it. And we have seen here in the community where we're at, where we have collaborated with North Country Family Health Center, where they had pop-up clinics and mobile sites. So they're able to come, to the drop-in center, and people who wanted the shot can get the shot. So it's been nice to collaborate with the community partners.
Oh, perfect. And I know earlier we were talking about the cultural barriers. Can you describe what, if any, outreach you're doing around diversity and equity and inclusion, both within your agency and also within the population that you're trying to serve? Maybe seeking out new populations or underserved populations or anything like that?
Right. I think one of the things we've done is to try to foster diversity and inclusion is we really try, even though we know it's all about sometimes the makeup of the population, and sometimes that can be a little hard, but we found out when we had the incident on Factory Street here, I don't know if you heard about that, where the homeless on Factory Street, 661 Factory Street, the homeless situation that happened. We had boots on ground there. Individuals were out there. We saw a lot of mix up of different, populations, and so demographics. So we were able to help those individuals. And although I think we don't have as much as I would like as if you were in New York City, or even Albany, but we try to foster diversity and inclusion as much as we can.
I hear you. I'm in Plattsburgh. I get
Oh,
it. Yeah. So I completely understand. Well, so thank you. So that's all the questions I had that weren't the specific interview questions. So moving on to those, it's please describe the support services your project has tailored to serve persons coming from an unsheltered situation.
Sure, I made some notes, so I'm gonna
Sure.
read my notes and stuff too.
Absolutely.
So MHJC, our Peer Run Housing First program, utilizes advocacy services. So each participant will work with an advocate to overcome barriers to obtaining and maintaining permanent housing. Participants will work on employment skills, wellness and social skills, short and long-term goal planning, in addition to improving physical stability. Participants also are able to utilize other support services within our organization, such as the drop-in center and other support groups that we have as well.
Perfect. Does your agency have someone with lived experience of homelessness within its executive leadership and who is involved with programmatic and funding decisions?
So what more way to put Ashley on the spot? And I'm gonna throw this to Ashley so she can answer question 2.
Okay.
So for the one with lived experience, I can say I do personally have lived experience with homelessness. I have been homeless on and off since I was like 20. I really didn't get into my own housing stability until I was probably 25, something like that. So I do have experience, and I know the struggles and the barriers with mental health, physical health, things like that.
Perfect. The COC scores each program's impact on system performance measures in part 1 of the rank and review tool. If you felt your project performed low on any section of part 1 due to serving particularly vulnerable populations or households with severe needs, such as chronically homeless, substance abuse, severe mental illness, history, domestic violence, criminal history, etc., please explain.
So I said, although we don't believe our project scored low with the, I'm looking at our project and what we have, but we do serve populations with serious mental illness, substance use, and criminal history. So we do have a makeup of all of that in our housing program.
Excellent. Are those in your project racially representative of those in your COC's homeless population?
I said no because we don't discriminate in our housing regarding race. We make every attempt to outreach to all different people from different socioeconomic backgrounds. We have seen some increase in our households and hope that continued outreach and policies will help lessen the racial disparity. We would like to see more of that, that ratio, because we are lacking that, and we would like to see more of it. I think when we do have individuals that kind of help make up that, it's nice to be able to have the diversity and inclusion in there. And sometimes when we don't have it, it's not that sometimes we can't do anything, we aren't able to do anything about it, but it's just nice to see, some diversity in our housing. And we have started to see that, so we hope that we can continue with that.
Okay. Could you describe how your project is working towards improving outreach and assessing the policies that may be contributing to that racial disparity? So, I know you said that you're open your doors to everybody, but what if anything, are you doing to outreach more to those populations that you're underserving?
So we do progressive outreach here. I think it's so important. Word of mouth is key. We can say we have the service here, but if you're not going out in the community and talking about the services, so we make a point. We just had, and I'll let Ashley talk more about this because we had a thing where they actually went out into the community, into the parks and stuff like that. But we make an attempt to go to DSS. We make an attempt to go to the other community partners. We make an attempt in our drop-in center here. Individuals come into the drop-in center. They don't have to have an appointment. It's just something where they can come into. So we make that attempt to see them, to help them if they have those housing needs and things like that. So outreach is so important to me because I think you got to get out there. And if an individual who is homeless can see that you're actually out there wanting to help them, I think that's a problem that we have in our community, is that so many people are afraid because they're like, oh, they're homeless. They're afraid because they don't know what to expect. It's so easy to say, okay, I'll see this person for a therapy appointment than it is to go out and see an individual that's homeless and don't have anything. And maybe they don't look the best, they don't have the best image or something like that. So I think it's best to be able to go out there and outreach and to those individuals, not be afraid to connect with them on the level and help them through those processes. But I have actually kind of talked about, what she did and how we partner with the Urban Mission and some of those other things.
Yeah, so we partnered with the Urban Mission, and myself and 5 other team members that are also certified peers went out into the community, and we went to areas with known individuals who were homeless. We see a lot of tents in the community. We actually, behind a housing assistance place, we saw a mattress back there that so we definitely went out in the community, and we met them, where they're at. So a lot of these individuals in the population we serve don't necessarily reach out to us for help. So that's why community outreach is so important. We get out there, this is who we are. We brought lunch, we brought cell phones with us, and we gave them a lot of pamphlets and things like that about our services and other areas. And, I gave them my phone number, and the team members did too, so they could reach out to us when they're ready for housing assistance.
Perfect. So that's all the questions that I have. Samantha, I'll go back to you. I guess what do we do next?
Okay, perfect. So, Ed or Ashley, do you have any questions for Tara or myself?
I don't. I know we only had Tara, but do it all, Tara. You did a good job. So
Thank you.
Yes, she did. I was like, oh, this is pretty good for her first time and being solo. So
yeah.
great job. All right, so Ed and Ashley, you can sign off. And again, you'll hear from me by, I believe, middle of next week because I got to send the recordings to the other reviewers for scoring.
Okay. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Tara.
All right, thanks. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Okay, so Tara, oh wait, let me stop this.